within, we have, the pieces are with. This is something that has been like so absolutely ignored by political leadership, military leadership. I mean, all of these discussions, all of these, whatever negotiations are happening, really don't even relate
No.
at all
And
to,
it's out there somewhere
yeah,
elsewhere by men most of the time
right,
that are just like deciding on what to do,
yeah.
the war,
And
and
it's
some
very
people are
like,
choosing
it's
this. Yeah,
cold, it's calculating,
yeah,
it's not seeing people, as seeing
yeah.
people as like numbers and things like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a representation of everything that's happening right now in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, it's heartbreaking, and at the same time it's offering us a huge opportunity in this crisis to stand up for what we believe in and to take ownership. What I feel like with the inner peace of peace is that it gives me control over my own dominion,
Mm.
and that's where I feel free. I'm like, okay, I am free to take action from within. And I think it's Frankel that said the only thing that they couldn't take away from them during the Holocaust at the concentration camp is their ability to, um, I don't know how he phrased it, but really to interpretate
Interpret.
the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important, the freedom of choice. Nobody can take
Mm-hmm.
away our freedom of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really important. Our freedom to understand and name and give meaning. Our
Yeah.
freedom to give meaning to what's happening.
Yeah. See, the more I listen to you, the more I feel like the war is never going to end. The conflict is never going. None of us will ever have what we want, whether it's peace or security or freedom or justice. We will never have any of those things unless we do this work.
Yes.
Unless we incorporate a human understanding into what's driving the conflict. The
Yeah.
deep,
The
if we
deep,
just give,
the
yeah,
deep psychological
right.
roots of the
And
conflict.
this is an argument that I have with people, a lot actually. And actually, this goes to why I really wanted to start the women, the women focusing on women ending the war. Not that all women are one way or another, or all men are another way, and not even if it's even a women thing. You call it like a feminine thing. I don't even know what I call it, but um, it's a it's a way of thinking that's missing from the table, which is all of this, which is thinking about what human beings go through, thinking about what drives people's actions, thinking about the pains that people are experiencing, thinking what it takes to get people to not act in violence. What does it take to, so in Israel right now, the thought is, oh, we're going to smash Hamas by, bombing the hell out of Gaza. And it's like I keep having this argument with people where I'm like, that doesn't work. It has never worked and it's never going to work. And it comes from this complete dehumanization thinking of thinking that, like, oh, the people of Gaza are just all, somehow potential terrorists. And if we somehow just, keep bombing the hell out of them, then there won't be any more terror. And it's like, I keep saying that that's exactly the opposite. I keep saying that every time Israel bombs some building where human beings are living, that is not ending terrorism, that is creating a lot more terrorism.
Yeah.
Because what it is doing is creating so much pain and so much anger, and anger towards Israel, because who's the one dropping the bomb? So if you want people to not want to terrorize Israel, we need to stop doing things like that. But that thinking is very, very far from the military political leadership. And so what I really, really want is to somehow convince, you know, not to convince, I want to get different thinking in positions of
Yeah.
decision making. And
Yeah.
I don't really know exactly how, okay, other than to keep doing this, to keep highlighting the voices of people who know what they're saying, who understand, who come from places of like psychology and sociology and anthropology and conflict resolution and, all of those things, and make that part of these discussions. If we don't do that, we are never ever going to get out of this cycle of violence. Never.
I agree. I think we need to showcase a diversity of opinion and a diversity of options. For me, that's really what this podcast is about. Is really understanding that we're all radically different, so radically different, and there's so many different options, and that we don't need to feel that we have no choice other than
Right.
this one
Right.
way that is portrayed as the
Right.
only way. It's my way or the highway. No, no,
Right.
we're not there. We have like look at nature. We have a variety of options. We have an abundance of possibilities. We have infinite possibilities. And as I mentioned, there's many Israelis that come and live in Costa
Yeah.
Rica and build their own community here, and they don't want to have anything to do with Israel.
Yeah.
They're like separating themselves
Yeah.
sometimes even from the issue. They don't want to go there, and
I
I
know
feel like
we had that. Had a meditation session last week with a
yes,
bunch of Israeli women,
yeah,
and you know there was so much trauma in
yeah,
that room. There was just so much, like real trauma. And also, even when we went to the market and I was chatting with this Israeli guy, I was looking at little trinkets for my grandchildren, and suddenly the guy's, he's
speaking
speaking
Hebrew,
Hebrew.
yeah,
I was like, okay, of course.
yeah,
But he was like, yeah, he came here because it was too hard for him, all of this.
yeah.
Which I understand. Which also, by the way, is a consideration. Like, what kind of, and this is a big question for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as someone who came to Israel 30 years ago out of the idea of a Jewish state. And like I said last time,
This
I don't
is
know what
like
Jewish state
yeah,
means
this
anymore. But
yeah.
okay,
Especially if the Jewish that like all these Israelis that are here, they're like they still want to have an Israel there. It's like okay, like you're not feeling safe in your own country. You're going to another
Yeah.
country, but you still want to keep your country as a Jewish state
Yeah.
because that's what guarantee you safety and security.
Yeah.
It's just nonsense.
Right. See, yeah.
On the land of
Yeah.
other people. It's just like
Yeah.
it's yeah.
See, in my ideal, okay, so we talked about this last time about what an ideal is, and I haven't really ever discussed this out loud because I don't want to hurt my friends and family when I say that my ideas about what I think about a Jewish state have changed, but they really have changed, and what I really want is a state of all the people
Yeah.
inhabiting it where everybody who lives there has what we as Jews want. Okay, we as Jews want to be able to live freely as Jews. That's it. The idea of the Jewish state from 70 years ago, 100 years ago, whatever, was basically the idea for Jews to have a place where we're safe, where we have freedom, all the things that the Palestinians are talking about today. We
Yeah.
want safety, we want justice, we want freedom, we want a place where it's safe to keep Shabbat and to speak Hebrew into our holidays. Okay, so yes, I want Israel to be that for Jews and for